Let's talk about the Texas A&M Aggies. Now, the bet DSI over-under total for the Aggies is 7. Here's what I'm willing to say. The next SEC West team, other than Alabama, to win the West will be the Aggies.
You just keep throwing the praise for Auburn, and we have to hear about the Aggies. They're going to be the next team up.
The next team to win the West, besides Alabama, will be Texas A&M. But it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
7 over under. Which direction are you going?
I've got a 10 to go over on this. I think that 7's a little bit too low for Texas A&M. Now, we talked about Washington against Auburn. We talked about tough games. We talked about playing, Alabama. We talked about everything on the schedule for what Auburn's going to face. Clemson's going to College Station this year. That's going to be a tough game.
So that
sets you right there. I'm already down at 10. LSU has never been a good matchup for Texas A&M. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure they haven't beaten LSU since they've been in the SEC yet. I'm pretty sure that A&M has lost that game every year since 2012.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel even. Manziel having real tough trouble with John Chavis' defense. I don't know what happened to Chavis when he got to College Station, but when he was playing against A&M, he always coached up against Manziel.
No, I agree. I agree. And to me, that's been more of a tough-nosed defense, athletes all over the field type of thing, because A&M just hasn't had the athletes on defense that you would have to really make up for what LSU has as far as their roster talent. Then all of a sudden you're going to Auburn. Then all of a sudden you're going to South Carolina. Then all of a sudden you're going to Mississippi State. I think they've actually got one of the hardest away schedules in the SEC with those 4 lined up. You're at Bama, at Auburn, at South Carolina, at Mississippi State. That's tough to do. With that being said, I'm not as high on South Carolina as some people are, and I think Jimbo Fisher is going to jump up and get somebody this year that's not expecting it. So I'm going over.
A&M's won there before.
Yes.
Won there back in I guess it would have been 2014. Won there at Williams-Brice Stadium. That becomes one of those crucial swing games if you want to get to that 8 number, that 9 number, because that's really kind of where you want to be. If you want to have something to build on for 2019, which I think could be a bigger year. Some of our A&M fans who watch the show can help us fill in these details. A&M just got a big commit from a defensive lineman that was a huge priority for Texas. I mean, listen, Tom Herman has been recruiting that state of Texas for a while. Jimbo Fisher, I'm not telling you he's going to get every recruit in the state of Texas over Tom Herman, but this idea that Herman's got right of first refusal on all these guys in the Lone Star State, that is just not gonna. That's not gonna be a thing. Jimbo's gonna get plenty. And he just beat out Texas for a big defensive lineman. The Aggies fans who watch the show are gonna fill me in on the details because I don't know Texas recruiting as well as I know some of the other states. But that's an example of what Jimbo's gonna do there.
Now, listen, it's not just Texas to me. I'm telling you right now, Louisiana. The state of Louisiana with Jimbo Fisher sitting over there in College Station just across the state line, I'm telling you right now. What I just say about Texas A&M versus LSU, A&M just hasn't had the athletes defensively to really match up with LSU. They've been bullied at a lot of different positions over the last 5 or 6 years by LSU. LSU hasn't had the better scheme. They definitely haven't had the better offensive scheme over the last few years. They've been bullied by some of the athletes that LSU has had. Jimbo Fisher is going to slowly start to kind of close that gap a little bit.
Richard Bernard on the Facebook comment section says when it comes to SEC West season win totals, he's got the Hogs at 10. So that's a pretty bold prediction from Richard coming in. We certainly appreciate that. But as far as Texas A&M getting over its predicted total of 7, Jimbo Fisher knows that's going to require stealing a few games. Here's how he plans on doing that. Here's Jimbo.
You got to prepare them. You got to put them in last plays of the game, last situations of the game, from the 5-yard line, 3-yard line, 10-yard line, 15-yard line, 18-yard line. Minute 32 timeouts, 40 seconds, no timeouts. You're trying to get a field goal, trying to get a touchdown. 2 minutes before the half. How you come out the second half. I mean, all those you got to get them to think those situations. How you can, as they say, steal ball games or steal momentum. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he sounds like he's doing a cattle auction right there. Like somebody said this yesterday that he's like the perfect sort of voice and cadence for a Texas A&M. Can I?